obviously taking the title from such a well-known song. So he'd taken that and kind of twisted the whole thing around.
Can I get a rewind?
Craig Ashley David, or simply Craig David, born May 5th, 1981. In the early 2000s, few artists broke onto the scene with the speed and impact of Craig David. At just 19 years old, he released Born to Do It in 2000, a debut that didn't just dominate his home country of the UK, but made serious waves across the globe. The album went platinum in the United States, sold over 7 million copies worldwide, and gave him 2 instant classics in Fill Me In and my personal favorite from David, 7 Days. Critics praised it as one of the greatest R&B debuts ever from a British artist, with some even daring to mention David in the same conversation as Usher. With his youthful swagger, sharp songwriting, and a fresh blend of UK garage, R&B, and pop, Craig David looked like the future of international music. But the challenge with blowing up so young is that talent alone rarely guarantees longevity. After Born to Do It, his 2002 follow-up performed respectably, platinum in the UK, gold in several other countries, but it couldn't match the lightning strike of his debut. In the US, where music trends were shifting toward hip-hop heavy R&B and soon EDM-driven pop, David's polished, melodic style began to feel out of place. By his mid-20s, the once global newcomer was struggling to keep the same unstoppable momentum alive. In the UK, his struggles were magnified by something unique to his story. A sketch comedy series called Bo Selecta, mocking his voice and image to the point where even casual fans started to view him as a caricature. David has since admitted it hurt his credibility and confidence, and it became harder to be taken seriously as an artist. Add to that an evolving music landscape, the intense pressure of early fame, and the difficulty of reinventing himself, and his career lost the unstoppable energy it began with. Still, David's story isn't without redemption. He remained respected in Britain, rebuilt his brand through his TS5 DJ sets in the 2010s, and reminded audiences of the smooth delivery that made him a star in the first place. Yet for someone whose debut convinced the world he was up next, his career didn't fully blossom the way it seemed destined to for these reasons. What happened? Let's talk about it. Salute to Valentine Vision 2020 on TikTok for this request. It's your boy JC StuntedGrowthMusic. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Craig David is an R&B singer and songwriter from Southampton, England. Born in 1981 to a Grenadian father who played bass in a local reggae band and an English mother who raised him after their separation, he grew up surrounded by music. As a teenager, Craig was already writing lyrics, DJing, and performing in Southampton club, sharpening a style that blended UK garage rhythms with R&B melodies. His breakthrough came in 1999 when he appeared on Artful Dodger's hit single Re-Rewind, aka The Crowd Say Bo Selecta, which peaked at number 2 on the UK charts and made his voice instantly recognizable nationwide. The success led to a major deal with Wildstar Records, where he quickly began work on his debut. Released in August 2000, Born to Do It combined the energy of garage with the accessibility of R&B, becoming a worldwide success. Yet its meteoric rise also set the stage for his first growth stunt. Stunt number 1, The Curse of the Perfect Debut. When Craig David dropped Born to Do It in 2000, it wasn't just a successful debut, it was a phenomenon. The album entered the UK chart at number 1, went 6 times platinum in Britain, and sold an estimated 7 to 8 million copies worldwide. In the United States, it reached number 11 on the Billboard 200 and was certified platinum, a rare achievement for a UK R&B act at the time. Singles like Fill Me In, 7 Days, and Walking Away showcased his smooth vocals and crossover appeal, instantly making him one of the most exciting new artists on both sides of the Atlantic. Outlets like MTV and Q Magazine hailed the album as one of the best of its era, cementing Craig's reputation as a generational talent. For a 19-year-old, his ceiling looked limitless, but in many ways, the scale of that success became a trap. Born to Do It set an impossibly high bar for anything that came after. His 2002 follow-up Sicker Than Your Average featured memorable singles like What's Your Flavor and the Sting-assisted Rise and Fall, but the album couldn't replicate the firestorm of his debut. In the US, it peaked at just 32 on the Billboard 200, and the changing landscape of the early 2000s, where hip-hop driven R&B and glossy pop dominated, left Craig's clean-cut, polished style less in demand. The narrative quickly shifted from the next global superstar to doubts about whether his debut had been a lightning-in-a-bottle moment. While he still had loyal fans and undeniable talent, the industry thrives or sustained momentum, and Craig seemed to fade before it stabilized. In truth, his debut may have been too perfect, so complete in its moment that everything afterward felt like a step down. That perception marked the first major stunt in Craig David's growth. Stunt number 2, when image became the joke. As Craig David's career searched for stability after his debut, an unlikely opponent began dismantling his image. Not another musician, but a parody. In 2002, British comedian Lee Francis launched the Channel 4 sketch show Bo Selector and created an exaggerated Craig David character. With rubber prosthetics, a squeaky falsetto voice, and outlandish mannerisms, the skit turned the once smooth R&B star into a cartoon. The show became popular, but for Craig it was career-altering. Almost overnight, he went from respected young singer to a national punchline. Craig has recalled how kids shouted Bo Selector at him in the street and how the mockery chipped away at his confidence. Years later, he admitted the portrayal left him traumatized, making him hesitant to perform or even appear in public. For a 20-something artist still defining himself, the loss of control of his own image was devastating. Seeing it in hindsight, it was like cutting down a real talent before he even had the chance to fully grow. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, artists like Usher, Justin Timberlake, and more were building polished R&B personas that translated seamlessly into the global mainstream. Craig, by contrast, was stuck trying to outrun a parody that overshadowed his real artistry. His third album, The Story Goes, 2005, debuted at number 5 in the UK and earned a gold certification, but with his US label dropping him, it never even received a stateside release. Internationally, the buzz had faded, and for many, Craig David was remembered less for his voice than a rubber mask and a catchphrase. What made this stunt so damaging wasn't just weaker sales, it was the erosion of respect. Once seen as Britain's answer to R&B's global stars, Craig was left battling to be taken seriously again, an uphill climb that shadowed him for years. Stunt number 3, falling out of sync with the times. When Craig David's US label dropped him in 2005 and chose not to release The Story Goes, it was more than a business move. It symbolized how far he had fallen out of step with the market. The album still did respectable numbers at home, debuting at number 5 in the UK and eventually going gold, but the message was clear: the global spotlight had shifted. By the mid-2000s, American R&B was thriving under Usher, Beyonce, Justin Timberlake, and newer names like Neo and Chris Brown, while UK garage, the sound that gave Craig his identity, was losing its commercial appeal. His music, once fresh, now felt caught between eras. The slide continued with his fourth album, Trust Me, in 2007, which peaked at just 18 in the UK, a steep drop from the chart-topping heights of his debut. Singles like Hot Stuff and 6 of One Thing failed to make meaningful dents in the charts, and critics noted how dated the production sounded compared to his peers. By 2010, when he released Signed, Sealed, Delivered, a Motown covers project, it felt like he was searching for relevance rather than setting trends. For an artist once hailed as the face of modern UK R&B, the fall was striking. His image had been dented by parody, his US presence had vanished, and musically, he seemed stuck chasing a past formula while the industry sprinted forward. The thing about his later singles during that period is, they weren't bad songs, they just didn't feel like the same Craig David who made Born to Do It essential listening. It would take years and a complete reinvention as a DJ through his TS5 sets for Craig to reconnect with a new audience and remind people of the talent that was always there. All in all, Craig David's career is one of talent colliding with timing, perception, and pressure. Few artists have ever launched with a debut as celebrated as Born to Do It, and even fewer have been asked to chase that level of success so early in their lives. His sophomore slump, the damaging parody that turned his image into a national joke, and the industry's rapid shift away from the sound that made him unique, all worked against him. Yet, what stands out most is his resilience. While his name may never again command the same global spotlight as in 2000, Craig rebuilt himself through his TS5 parties and proved that reinvention is possible even after the narrative seems written. His story is a reminder that growth doesn't always follow a straight line, but persistence can carve a new one. Salute, much respect, but for these reasons, his growth was stunted. It's your boy JC, StuntedGrowthMusic, and I'm out.